Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and now here I am to complete this countdown of reviews for my picks for the top 10 best live action Disney movies with my review of number 1, which is Old Yeller. So, yeah, I've always really loved this movie. Old Yeller is just a phenomenal classic. Just like Mary Poppins, Old Yeller is just a, a phenomenal film. Old Yeller is simply a masterpiece. This movie has really just touched like millions of people over the last 60 years, and rightfully so. This is just a absolutely outstanding film. I've loved this movie ever since I was a little kid, and even now I still really do love this movie just as much. It just has always been just a movie I've always loved watching. It is just a great film, and as you can probably tell now, you probably see I am like kind of a sucker for like the live action Disney dog movies since I had like three on this countdown with Airbud, Homeward Bound, and now this. Yeah, I really do seem to like the Disney live action films with that starred dogs. Disney really does seem to do those really well, and yeah, this is one is definitely their best. Old Yeller is just a great film. Yeah. This was like one of the earlier or like live action Disney movies. Around this time, like there weren't really like that many live action Disney movies around the time. Yeah, this movie was released in 1957 on Christmas Day. Yeah. And yeah, prior to this, there weren't really like that many well-known Disney live-action movies. There were like a few. There was like Song of the South, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There was like Treasure Island. There was like Davy Crockett. So yeah, there were like some live action movies that were really well known, but there weren't really like as many, like not like how it is today. So yeah, this is one of the earlier live action Disney films, and yeah, this really was really the first like huge one that really did start like a trend of live action Disney movies. And yeah, it's just like a great film all around. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, the movie does like feature Fess Parker, Dorothy McGuire, Kevin Corcoran, Tommy Kirk, Jeff York, and yeah, just some other actors, and yeah, they all do really good in this movie. Yeah, and what's interesting about this movie is that this movie actually did kind of like start careers for a lot of the cast in this movie. Now, Fess Parker, he already like did kind of have a career with Disney prior to this movie. Like he was like in some Disney projects before this, most notably like Davy Crockett. But yeah, he was like in a couple of other live action Disney movies as well before this one. But yeah, with like Dorothy McGuire, Tommy Kirk, and Kevin Corcoran, like they actually like did like achieve like a career with Disney films after this. Like all three of them were like, of course, in like part of the family in Swiss Family Robinson, and also like Tommy Kirk and Kevin Corcoran were also like to get brothers in the Shaggy Dog. So yeah, and like they were like in some other ones. Like Tommy Kirk like did kind of like have like a career like with while he was under contract with Disney after this. Like he like had some other feature films over those next several years, and Kevin Corcoran also had some. So yeah, I guess like this film did like have a career for a lot of the other actors in this movie. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, they all do really good. Yeah, and yeah, this film, like, of course, was like based on the book by Fred Gibson, and yeah, I did like read the book before when I was like in the sixth grade, and yeah, the book like it was like kind of like different from this film in a sense like this film isn't like completely like the book. Like it doesn't have like everything the book had, of course. But yeah, there are like some things that this movie also like kind of does differently from the book and all. But and, yeah, still overall, this is just like a great film and just like really a flawless film, just like Mary Poppins. And yeah, of course, like this film also like had the direction of Robert Stevenson once again. And yeah, Robert Stevenson like yeah, he directed this and also Mary Poppins and like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, like I said before. So yeah, and they're all really great films. Like really, I don't hear a lot of people really talking about Robert Stevenson when it comes to great directors because, I mean, for the American films like Robert Stevenson has directed, I mean, he really has directed some phenomenal American films. Like Robert Stevenson is like a British director, so he like has directed a lot of British films all the way back to like the 1930s. So yeah, I guess like Robert Stevenson is like he's probably more popular in Britain than he is here in the U.S. But yeah, for the American films Robert Stevenson has directed, like he has really directed some phenomenal films, and I really think that Robert Stevenson really deserves more recognition. I mean, I think really Robert Stevenson he could probably be like on par with people like Steven Spielberg and Joss Whedon and Tim Burton. I mean, yeah, because yeah, Robert Stevenson has really directed some classic American films, so I really think he really deserves some more recognition. But yeah, and this film just has a really like the characters in this movie are really memorable. Fess Parker as the father, Jim Coates, Dorothy McGuire as the mother, Katie. Yeah, and Travis is played by Tommy Kirk in this movie, not Jeff York, Nostalgia Critic. Yeah, I watched Nostalgia Critic say some of this review, and he kept saying like Travis was played by Jeff York when he wasn't. It's Mr. Searcy who's played by Jeff York. So yeah, when I watched his review, like I really just wanted to actually tell him that face to face, Hayes before. So yeah, that's just something I really wanted to say and really correct him on because yeah, Travis is played by Tommy Kirk, not Jeff York. And there's Arliss played by Kevin Corcoran, and yeah, just yeah, they're all really good. And of course, like we have like Yeller in this movie, the dog, played by a dog named Spike. And for those of you who don't know, like the dog that played Yeller in this film, he was also the very same dog that was in the film A Dog of Flanders. So yeah, that's kind of interesting right there. And yeah, this movie like has of course like a good plot, and yeah, I'm glad that they just basically had this be like a story of the life of Yeller and how he was with the family, and there's really like no villain or anything in this movie. So yeah, I'm glad that they really chose to just like do something really simple for this film. Yeah, and of course, like this film also has like a load of animal fights in it, which are really well done. Yeah, the South Critic was kind of like talking about his concerns over the animal fights in this film. He was kind of saying he was kind of uncomfortable with the footage, but yeah, they set in a behind the scenes feature for this film. Like the animals were like really like good, and they were just trained not to hurt each other. So and there was really no need to worry about anything happening to the animals in the production of this film because yeah, everything was just fine. Yeah, and of course this film also does have like the really emotional ending, which pretty much everyone knows about. Yeah, I'll get to that when I reach that part in the film. So yeah, but yeah, just a great film all around. Definitely my favorite live action Disney film of all time. I would give this once again 4 stars out of 4, hands down. Just a phenomenal film. All right, so yeah, let me just get right into it. All right, so as the movie opens, we just like shows like Yeller like just running around, and yeah, this film like is set in like the 1860s in Texas. Like it's after the war sometime. It's not exact doesn't exactly say how long this film does take place after the war, but yeah, it's just like post Civil War time. Yeah, and it just shows like Yeller like running around. It shows like he's chasing after a rabbit or something. Yeah, and then it's shown that that Jim has is like going on a cattle drive, and he would be gone for like a few months and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, he was just saying that he was gonna get money for the family and stuff, and he was also like promising Katie that he would bring her back a store bought dress and stuff. Yeah, and as Jim was leaving, like Travis was like going with him just to like walk him off. Yeah. And as Jim was leaving, he was just telling Travis that while he would gone, Travis would be man of the house, and he was just telling Travis the responsibilities that he has to mark the pigs and shoot the fresh meat and also work the corn patch well. But before Jim left, like Travis was just talking to his father or about bringing him a horse because Travis has been wanting a horse for a long time, and he just told his father time and again about it. And so then, yeah, Jim just promised Travis that he would bring Travis a horse if he does work as a man. Yeah. And then later on, as Travis was like working the corn patch with the family mule Jumper, then showed Yeller arriving again, and he was like chasing around the rabbit again. And then at one point they just like ran under Jumper, and then that caused Jumper to just go out of control, and he was just like running around. And then Yeller was just like chasing Jumper, and in the commotion, like they ended up like busting down the wooden fence. Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, Travis was just like really unhappy about it because the father hadn't got a full day yet, and it already became a huge mess. Yeah. And basically, then he was just saying that Yeller had better not come back, like while Travis has a gun in his hands. Yeah. And then the next morning, as like Katie was making some breakfast, like she was just sending Travis out to cut down some middling meat, and then Travis saw it was gone, and he saw Yeller was back, and so Yeller had eaten the meat. But then Arliss saw Yeller, and then yeah, Travis like loved Yeller, and as Travis was like gonna hit Yeller, Arliss was defending Yeller, and then Katie came out and saw Yeller back, and she saw how much Arliss really cared about Yeller, and then she decided to let Arliss keep Yeller, and Travis was like against it at first, but then Katie was just telling Travis that he has to be fair since he had a dog when he was younger, and so Arliss should have one too. Yeah. And then later that morning, then Katie sent Travis out to the woods to get them a deer for some meat. Yeah. And then, yeah, it just showed then Travis was just like waiting up in a tree for a deer to come by, and then it was showing like Travis was like distracted by some squirrels that were messing around. But then the deer eventually popped up, and then Travis very slowly raised up his gun and shot the deer. And yeah, it did like a good job of like sending like chills down the spine with the music and stuff as Travis was like slowly holding up the gun to shoot the deer. Like it was done really good. Yeah. And then, like, when Travis came back, he saw Arliss and Yeller were in their pool of drinking water. And then, like, Travis then just threw a rock at Yeller and Arliss. And then that then just caused Arliss to throw a bunch of rocks at Travis and stuff. And then, yeah, after, like, Katie got Arliss back under control, she then just, like, blessed out Travis for being so bossy with Arliss. Yeah. And then that night, like, because Travis wanted to get rid of Yeller, he then, like, placed up some meat, and then, as Yeller approached it, Travis just warned Yeller that if he bite, eats any of the meat at all, that he would shoot Yeller right between the eyes. And then to, like, raise the chance of Yeller doing it, Travis just put the meat even lower and stuff. Yeah, but then when the next morning came, it showed that Yeller didn't touch the meat at all. Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, Katie was just telling Travis that Yeller was too smart to really fall for Travis's trap. And then as Katie and Travis were then just like cutting down some new posts for fence, it then showed Travis and Yeller were hunting for fish, and they eventually caught one. And then, yeah, they then showed it to Katie, yeah, and then, yeah, Arliss was just telling his mother a bunch of, like, a huge story, basically saying that he went, like, underwater in a cave and fought fish and stuff to capture it and stuff, yeah. And then, yeah, as Travis was just telling his mother that he knew that Arliss was lying, Katie was just telling Travis that he should just let Arliss use his huge imagination, yeah. Then, due to Arliss catching the fish, he then just, yeah, his pride just got the best of him, and then he tried to capture a bear cub. And then when he tried to nab it, then the mother then just charged at Arliss, but then Yeller fought off the bear to keep the bear from attacking Arliss, and then Yeller eventually ended up driving the bear off, yeah. Due to Yeller saving Arliss's life like that, then Katie and Travis then, like, gained affection for Yeller. And then that's when Travis then was starting to grow some love for Yeller. Yeah. Yeah, and then one day then, like the Coates' neighbors, or it was like Bud Searcy and his daughter Lisbeth, paid a visit just to check in on them. And then, like, as they were getting ready for their dinner, like, Travis and Elizabeth just went out into the corn patch to pick some good corn, and then Travis could see that there were raccoons that were in the corn. And as they were picking corn, Elizabeth also was telling Travis that she's actually seen Yeller stealing food like eggs and bread and stuff. But she said that she wouldn't tell because someone they knew was gonna have some puppies, and Yeller could be the father and stuff. Yeah, and it's never actually made clear if Yeller actually is the father of the pups or not. And yeah, it's never made clear, but yeah. And then to stop Yeller from stealing anything else so that he wouldn't be shot, Travis just decided to keep Yeller real busy so he wouldn't have any time to do it. And so that night they were then guarding the corn patch, and then once some raccoons came to and just tried to steal corn from the patch, then Yeller ended up scaring them off. Yeah. And then the next morning they saw that one of the cows they look after, Rose, didn't come up during the night, and so they then decided that she probably had her calf somewhere, and so Travis and Yeller went to hunt Rose up, and they eventually found her. And then as Rose started to charge at Travis, Yeller then just ended up busting Rose down a couple of times, and then that got her to calm down. And then, yeah, they then brought her back home. And then, yeah, Travis tried to milk Rose, but Rose was just going crazy. But then when Yeller came in, then she just calmed down, and then that allowed Travis to milk. And then that really impressed Katie that Yeller was able to be that way. Yeah. And then, like one day, the coach then had another visitor, Bernd Sanderson, and then he revealed that he was really the rightful owner of Yeller. And then, yeah, he was just basically then came to take Yeller back with him. And then as he was like starting to take Yeller back, Arliss then just threw a fit and was just throwing a bunch of rocks at Mr. Sanderson. Yeah. And then, yeah, when Mr. Sanderson like learned how much Arliss really wanted Yeller, he then decided to swap with him in exchange for a horned toad Arliss was carrying around, as well as for the mother to feed him. And then, yeah, then like Arliss and Travis got to keep Yeller. And as Mr. Sanderson was leaving, he was just like telling Travis is that there was like a growing plague of hydrophobia around, which is another word for rabies. And he was just saying that you know that an animal is rabid if they do like stagger and slobber. And he just told Travis that if he sees an animal like that, to shoot them quick before they bite. Yeah. And then the next day, not Arliss, Travis then went out to mark some hogs. Yeah. And then, and yeah, he had Yeller just like hold the hogs off so they wouldn't end up escaping as Travis worked on them. So, from the advice of Mr. Searcy, Travis was setting up in a tree and then just pulling them up into the tree with a rope to work on them. And then eventually, then just one hog just ended up pulling Travis down from the tree, and then one of them just was like gnawing on Travis's leg and just going crazy on it. Yeah, but Yeller was able to save Travis from the grip of the hog, and yeah, Travis ended up bolting, but then and you could like hear the commotion in the background, like all the squealing and snarling and stuff, but then it just became silent, and then Travis, like, he was bleeding really badly from his leg. Yeah, but then he just saw the hogs leaving, but he didn't see Yeller, and then when he went back, it was just showing that Yeller ended up being attacked by the hogs too and was cut into pieces. Yeah. And then he just hid Yeller in a cove as he went back to get his mother to come back and fix up Yeller. And when they did, it then just like showed that they were stitching Yeller up with a hair from the tail of Jumper. Like, how is a mule's tail hair like strong enough to hold up the wound together? I don't know, but yeah, I don't think we're really supposed to know. And then one day, then like Mr. Searcy and Elizabeth arrived back, and then Elizabeth tried to give Travis one of the pups that Yeller is supposedly the father of, but then like Travis just ended up like rejecting it, basically saying that the dog is not much. And then yeah, that like he just told Elizabeth to give the pup to Arliss. Yeah. And then as Katie and Mr. Searcy were tending to Travis's wound, And like Mr. Searcy, he was like talking about the hydrophobia, and he was just like telling a story about one person that like had hydrophobia. Yeah, after like getting attacked by animals and ended up dying and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, well, Katie wasn't happy that she was like telling that story to Travis, who may catch it, may have caught it also and stuff. Yeah. And then, as she was saying that she could use some help around the yard, then Mr. Sushi decided to leave Elizabeth behind to help Katie with the jobs. Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, as she just went back in to see Travis, Travis was just like telling his mother that he got a good look at the hogs and they weren't rabid. And then, yeah, Travis and Yeller like recovered completely from it. And then one day, like, the family could like hear Rose kind of like bawling and stuff, and then they eventually discovered that Rose did have hydrophobia due to what Mr. Sanderson told Travis, and then Travis then ended up like then shooting Rose, killing her. Yeah. And then that night, Katie and Elizabeth were just burning Rose's body so that no varmints would get at it and the disease would spread. Yeah. And then, as they were doing that, then like there was a wolf that came and tried to attack them, but Yeller fought off the wolf, and then Travis then arrived and just showed like Yeller and the wolf fighting, and then Travis eventually ended up shooting the wolf. And then he just showed then Yeller like had a bunch of bite marks on him, and then like Katie knew like what actually happened to Yeller because she could tell that the wolf really was mad due to just like jumping them at the fire, and no like wolf in the right mind would do that. And like she just told Travis that they were gonna have to shoot him, and Travis like was against it, just saying that they couldn't shoot Yeller without knowing for sure, and they just then decided to pen Yeller up and then they would wait to see if he was really rabid. And then it showed like a couple of weeks pass, and it showed that Yeller seemed to be okay, but Katie was just telling Travis that sometimes it could take a month to tell if an animal was rabid. And then later on that night, as Travis was trying to feed Yeller some more, it then was like showing Yeller was growling and snarling at Travis. Yeah. Yeah. And then like I think Travis was like starting to catch on by that, as he was like starting to really act really depressed and stuff. Yeah. And then as Harless was heading to bed, he then like ran to the pen. And yeah, and then he tried to free Yeller, and at this point, like Yeller was starting to foam at the mouth, and yeah, then like Katie, Travis, and Elizabeth saw what Arliss was doing, and then as Arliss was about to open the door and Yeller was about to get out, they were able to stop Yeller from getting out and shut it back up. Then yeah, it just then showed Travis looking at Yeller, and yeah, Travis then knew Yeller was rabid, and then yeah, then they just knew that they had to shoot Yeller, or due to because he was suffering, and then Travis decided that he would do it. Yeah. And then it just showed then Travis holding up the gun, putting it through the holes in the pen, and yeah, you could just see like the looks on Travis, Katie, and Elizabeth's face and how sad they really were about what was about to happen. And yeah, Travis was just like really reluctant to shoot it, but he eventually ended up pulling the trigger and shooting Yeller, killing him. Yeah, and of course, like, really sad moment for everybody. Yeah. And then it eventually showed then Jim arriving back home, and then he it showed all like he brought back money and also gifts for the family. He brought like Arliss a Indian chief headdress. Yeah. And he also brought Katie the dress he promised, and he also brought Travis the horse he promised him. But yeah, Travis wasn't around when Jim came back home because him and Elizabeth were out at a hill burying Yeller, and then off screen, Katie was telling Jim about Yeller. Yeah, and then eventually, then Jim went and to talk to Travis about Yeller and what he should really do. At first, he was just telling Travis that he had to try to forget it, but then, like, Travis asked how he could really forget something like that, and then Jim, like, really knew that it really wasn't something Travis could forget. And then he was just, like, really telling Travis that life can be like that sometimes, and really bring someone down, but it's not all like that, and Travis can't let it all bring him down, or all of life will be like that for him. Yeah. And then as they arrived back home, and it showed like the pup like stealing a piece of meat, which like, was a trick he got from Yeller. Yeah. And then Travis then just picked up the pup, and he was just saying that he should start learning the pup to learn his keep, and he was just saying that he can learn if he can act like old Yeller. Yeah. And then the movie just ended with the pup now like being grown up, and it was kind of like a reprise of the song at the beginning of the film, like calling it Young Yeller, and yeah, basically like the young Yeller was now acting just like Yeller. Yeah, yeah, and it just showed the pup now just running with Travis and Arliss, and the best doggone dog in the West song, and that's how the movie ended. So yeah, 4 stars out of 4. Once again, just a very phenomenal movie. Definitely a classic. Definitely deserves all the recognition and all the praise it has gotten over the last 60 years. It is truly a classic. So yeah, definitely my favorite live action Disney movie of all time. Just a great movie all around, and yeah, definitely watch this movie. So, alright, yeah, so that does it for my review of Old Yeller, and that does it for these top 10 live action Disney film reviews. So, yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this countdown for those of you who did watch through it. So, yeah, I'm just wanting to do this since what I did last year with the hand-drawn animated films, wanted to do this with the live action films also. So, for those of you who watched these, I hope you enjoyed them. Alright, so, yeah. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review just like all the other ones in this countdown. So, yeah, that does it for these reviews. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.